credible allegations of a potential link between agents of the government of India and the killing of a Canadian citizen, Hardeep Singh Nijjar.
I think it is Canada and its growing reputation as a place, as a safe haven for terrorists, for extremists and for organized crime.
19 ਨਵੰਬਰ ਤੋਂ ਗਲੋਬਲ ਬਲੌਕੇਡ ਤੇ 에ਅਰ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਚੱਲਣ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਜਾਏਗੀ।
Khalistani extremists are being encouraged all the time. I also know, again, this is my allegation, I'm not giving you any evidence on that. I also know that some of these Khalistani extremists and terrorists are deep assets of CSIS.
The Indian government hired thugs to terrorize Canadians.
The relationship between India and Canada at this point seems more adversarial, at least overtly, than even the relationship between India and Pakistan. There have been dramatic new revelations made by Ambassador Sanjay Verma, the now withdrawn High Commissioner of India to Canada, including saying that at one point a sword attack by Khalistanis came within inches of striking him and his wife. In the meantime, the US has named a former RNW official, Vikash Yadav, and blamed him for being involved in an alleged murder plot to eliminate Khalistani terrorist Gurpatwant Pannun. To make sense of what is happening, how do we read between the lines and what might happen next? Let me welcome my guest, our newsmaker, to the program today. A.S. Dulat is with us. He's a former RNW chief, a prolific author, and above all, a man not scared to speak his mind. Even so, as a former RAW chief, Dulat Saab, when you see a former RNW official named, look, this goes against the grain of what spokes believe in. No country wants their agents, their officials named. The US indictment has identified, named this person. He was arrested by India itself in 2023 December. There will be now demands for his extradition. The FBI has put out most wanted notices. And he's been named as an accused in a plot to take out a man who has openly threatened to balkanize India, who has celebrated the assassins of Indira Gandhi, who has openly threatened Air India planes. He's a clear terrorist. How concerned are you at everything that's happened? Are you worried? Do you feel, anxious? How do you look at everything that's happened?
No, I'm not worried. I'm not even anxious. This is, a diplomatic row that's taking place between Canada and India. And ultimately, it will be sorted out diplomatically. It's a sensitive subject that you've got me onto, and I've been dodging this. But it's very difficult to dodge you for very long. So
Correct.
Here I am, and I'll tell you what I do know, and I will not tell you what I don't know. So, don't forget, I was in this business a long time ago, 25 years ago. And I can tell you that nothing like this ever happened. No question about it. And therefore, I have been in denial throughout, even ever since Karan Thapar first asked me to speak on this business. That we never do these things. We are never involved in such things. And certainly, these things never happen. Now, if it has happened, as everybody is saying, it has happened. So if it has happened, then I said this somewhere before, then I think somebody has goofed up big time. I don't think if we are involved in such things, that we should be found out so blatantly that, we are involved in all that. And so this whole thing doesn't go down well as far as I'm concerned. The other part, of course, should be worked out diplomatically. Now, what High Commissioner Verma has said and what these are allegations being made, after the event. If our High Commissioner was being threatened, so then this is a matter which should have been raised at that point of time. Likewise with the Canadians, I mean, if they have issues, Prime Minister Trudeau was here and he was here and he should have spoken to our Prime Minister. And these things should have could go on. The other thing I would like to clarify and make clear. Now, here is a photograph of Prime Minister Trudeau with our Prime Minister. And what I would like to clarify here is that the Canadians and the Americans work very closely together. So the intelligence from one goes to the other. This much of whatever the Canadians are quoting, they would have got from the Americans. So it's not just one-sided or something, And as I said somewhere, I think Pannun may be a CIA agent, for all you know. So you're referring to him as a Khalistani. I don't know how much of a Khalistani he is and how much of Khalistan you have in the United States. But he could well be a CIA agent, So this sort of thing goes on, and I'm sure it'll end. I mean, the American relationship is far more important for us, and vice versa. So I don't think that's going to go out of hand with or without Vikash Yadav. They could ask for extradition, and we may not comply with that request. I mean, it's all up to us, and we'll see. But I think the American thing will be sorted out pretty fast. And as for the Canadian thing, it might take a little longer, but it has to be sorted out. I mean, we have had a relationship. There are a lot of Indians who work in Canada and who keep going to Canada, particularly from the Punjab. And the last thing we want is that this matter to be raked up in the Punjab, So it should stay as far away from the Punjab as possible.
Okay, now you've said a bunch of things, and I'm going to try and go through them one by one. First, you said that in your experience, this does not happen. This has
no, it's never happened. No,
Okay.
never happened.
Then you say, if it has happened, which is a very big
if it is.
If it has happened, then there's been a goof up at some level, right?
Yeah. Big goof up.
Now, big goof up. But the first part of the sentence would have to be proven to be true, that if it has happened, right? You've said if it's happened.
If it's happened, yeah. Because as I say, I've never seen this happen before.
Now, India has denied that it's happened in the case of Canada's allegations. In the case of the American allegations, we have set up an inquiry team. We have said it's a matter of concern. We have,
as I said to you, you're right.
You're right.
As I said to you, the American relationship is much more important, and therefore I said this will get sorted out quickly, much quicker, because the US is important to us, and we are to them. So I don't see this lingering for too long. As far as the Canadian thing goes, once the American thing is sorted out, I think that will also get sorted out, because they work hand in hand kind of thing.
Let me ask you this. What do you make of the arrest of Vikash Yadav, the CRPF official on deputation through the RANW, arrested perhaps in anticipation in an actually unrelated case for as early as December 2023, so that by the time the US indictment documents actually name him, he is in custody. I don't see him being extradited, but you're the man with the decades of experience. Do you believe here India basically made a move taking him into custody so that India could say to the Americans, he's been arrested, we've taken necessary action if there was anything to take action in. Now
exactly. And there's nothing else to do. He's not a serving employee anywhere. In fact, as you say, he's in custody. That makes it more simple or straightforward. And I don't think there's going to be any extradition, like you said. I agree.
Then you said, and you've said this to me before also, you said you believe that Gurpatwant Pannun, described by me as a Khalistani terrorist, by the way, that's how India has officially designated him, and his comments, which are, openly call for violence against the Indian state, they openly talk about balkanizing India, certainly are in the realm of incitement to violence and terror talk. You said you believe he might be a CIA agent. With all your decades of experience as a spook, why do you think that?
Because he's playing the American part, as I see it, and the Americans are going along with him, supporting him. I don't think he's such big league, that the Americans had to go out of their way to support him or make a noise about him. This could have been dealt with very quietly. In any case, all those things which you say he said against the Indian state and all that, when do they relate back to what era or what time?
He said it in 2023. He said it in 2023.
All right. So then we know where that's exactly my point. So that we know where the encouragement comes from. It comes from, the American support. Otherwise, he wouldn't be saying these things. I'm sure the Americans know that anybody who's talking against the Indian state, there are going to be questions asked by the government of India. But he has, despite that, he said what he said, according to you. And therefore, he has the full backing.
Not according to me. Can I play the clip for you?
No.
I want you to hear this clip.
I go along. Please don't get me wrong. I go along with, I don't need the clip. You said it, it's good enough for me. Okay.
But I think you might be shocked also if you hear it. I'm just trying to get a confirmation from my producers whether we have the clip or not, but nobody's speaking.
No, I don't need any confirmation. It's okay. What you say is good enough for me because I've known you long enough, and that's okay.
I want you to hear it. I want you to hear it. Just hear it.
All right.
It. Okay. This is from November 2023. Take a look.
We are asking the Sikh Panth, do not fly Air India. 19 ਨਵੰਬਰ ਤੋਂ ਗਲੋਬਲ ਬਲੌਕੇਡ ਤੇ 에ਅਰ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਚੱਲਣ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਜਾਏਗੀ। ਸਿੱਖ ਪੰਥ ਵਾਲਿਓ 19 ਨਵੰਬਰ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ 에ਅਰ ਇੰਡੀਆ 'ਚ ਸਫ਼ਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨਾ, ਜਾਨ ਨੂੰ ਖਤਰਾ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ। ਔਰ ਸਾਡਾ ਇਹ ਸੁਨੇਹਾ ਹੈ ਭਾਰਤ ਨੂੰ, ਇੰਦਰਾ ਗਾਂਧੀ ਇੰਟਰਨੈਸ਼ਨਲ 에ਅਰਪੋਰਟ 19 ਨਵੰਬਰ ਨੂੰ ਬੰਦ ਰਹੇਗਾ। ਇਹ 19 ਨਵੰਬਰ ਉਹੀ ਹੈ ਜਿੱਦਣ ਵਰਲਡ ਟੈਰਰ ਕੱਪ ਦਾ ਫਾਈਨਲ ਵੀ ਹੈ। ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੱਸ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਜਾਏਗਾ ਕਿ ਭਾਰਤ ਨੇ, ਹਿੰਦੁਸਤਾਨ ਨੇ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਦੀ ਨਸਲਕੁਸ਼ੀ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਇਹ 에ਅਰਪੋਰਟ ਦਾ ਨਾਂ ਸ਼ਹੀਦ ਬੇਅੰਤ ਸਿੰਘ, ਸ਼ਹੀਦ ਸਤਵੰਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਖਾਲਿਸਤਾਨ 에ਅਰਪੋਰਟ ਹੋਏਗਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਆਜ਼ਾਦ ਕਰਵਾਇਆ ਜਾਏਗਾ। ਆਜ਼ਾਦੀ ਦੀਆਂ ਜੰਗਾਂ ਜਨੂਨ ਨਾਲ ਜਿੱਤੀਆਂ ਜਾਂਦੀਆਂ ਤੇ ਆਜ਼ਾਦੀ ਦੀ ਜੰਗ, ਪੰਜਾਬ ਨੂੰ ਆਜ਼ਾਦ ਕਰਾਉਣ ਦੀ ਜੰਗ ਖਾਲਿਸਤਾਨ ਰੈਫਰੈਂਡਮ ਦੇ ਰਾਹੀਂ ਚੱਲ ਚੁੱਕੀ ਹੈ। ਭਾਰਤੀ ਹਕੂਮਤ ਦੇ ਟੈਂਕ ਤੇ ਤੋਪ ਇਸ ਆਜ਼ਾਦੀ ਦੀ ਜੰਗ ਨੂੰ ਰੋਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਕਦੇ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੇ ਇੱਕ ਸਿੱਖ 1.25 ਲੱਖ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਲੜਨ ਨੂੰ ਬਣਾਇਆ ਹੈ। ਜਨੂਨ ਹੈ ਆਜ਼ਾਦੀ ਦਾ ਤੇ ਹਥਿਆਰ ਹੈ ਕਲਮ ਦਾ। We are going to break the backbone of Indian economic system and we are going to balkanize India. 19 ਨਵੰਬਰ ਤੋਂ ਸਿੱਖ ਪੰਥ ਵਾਲਿਓ 에ਅਰ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਫ਼ਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨਾ, ਜਾਨ ਨੂੰ ਖਤਰਾ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ।
Okay, I just wanted you to right?
I've seen it. Thanks a lot. But I don't think anybody's taken any notice of that. He's talking about the Sikh Panth. The Sikh Panth, actually, if you want to meet the Sikh Panth, you need to go to Amritsar. And I don't think anybody has taken notice of this or has gone according to what he wants. Interestingly, you see, he is also stressed on or impressed on 1984, and the assassination of Mrs. Gandhi. And he says that those guys were martyrs. So there's a lot in all this, but the point really is that he's getting away with this because I think he has backing. To me, it's very clear that he would not do this without backing.
So then the question is why? Why do the Americans want to back? Okay, here's my question to you. Everybody's making so much noise about Canada because Trudeau's a kind of bumbling sort of caricature, of a leader. The Americans in some ways are much more insidious because, as you said, if there is intel here that is authentic, it was provided by the Americans to Canada. The Americans and the Canadians work together much more closely. The Americans, if they are backing Pannun, then the Americans are playing a game that is less obvious than Trudeau. Trudeau's game is to win elections. He's playing to an extremist vote bank in Canada. What is the game of the Americans? If Pannun is a CIA agent, as you suspect, and is playing to an American script, the question is why? Why are the Americans doing this?
About agents of any agency anywhere, you'll never get to know what the game is really. It can go much deeper than you and I imagine. And of course, when it comes to the, as they call it, the Sikh Qaum, and being a Sikh myself, I can tell you, it heads straight to the Punjab. And Punjab is a sensitive state. And that's why I say that there is no Khalistani in Punjab. There's no move for Khalistan in Punjab anymore. It's over. It's done with. And it should not be raked up again. I think that is the dangerous thing. And that is what worries me. Not what Pannu says or what Nijjar says or something. These guys are far away and they're far removed from reality. Now, Pannu Saab has to say what he has to say. But as I said, there are no listeners to him anymore.
There are no listeners in India, but there could be listeners or protectors or enablers in Canada and the United... And hang on, you're laughing. But the point is, there was the Kanishka bombing of 1985. Right? There was the Kanishka bombing of 1985.
Yeah, there was.
Nobody, the perpetrators were not brought to justice. You've got Talvinder Singh Parmar being celebrated or memorialized in parts of Canada as recently as in this past week. Families are running pillar to post over the decades for justice. The reason I'm bringing this up is that we've seen a spate of bomb hoaxes into India's aviation system over the last 10 days. At the same time, there is Canadian media reporting that Pannu is once again talking about don't travel Air India, once again making these kind of threats. You seem confident that he's not to be taken seriously. Why would those who lost people they love on that Kanishka bombing not take him seriously? Why would our High Commissioner, who's saying that a sword at one of these protests came within inches of striking him and his wife, not take this seriously?
Only
hang on.
As far as the High Commissioner goes is that why did he not rake it up then when the sword was close to him or whatever it was? The question you are raking up now is the Kanishka bombing, you remember, was 1985. And it was soon after Blue Star, and it was soon after Mrs. Gandhi's assassination. So the Sikhs at that time had a lot to complain about, a lot to grieve about, a lot to, that they were unhappy with. I think that 84 story is over, now. And I don't see any rational Sikh bombing planes and things, If there are some madcaps,
but there is no.
One minute.
Rational?
If there are,
which terrorist is
that's
rational?
what I'm saying. So if there are some madcaps in the United States or in Canada, then those countries have to take note of them, and we need to inform them well in time that so and so is a bit loony, Either you pick him up or put him aside or whatever it is. We are hearing. Now, point is, we are talking about intelligence here and about agencies, This is what our agencies should be doing, finding out these loony bins and instead of trying to knock them off, highlight it to the powers that be. And if they don't respond, then I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine our complaining.
Yeah,
I'm talking of the United States. I'm talking about the United States. Now, if this issue or an issue of these Khalistani terrorists, as you call them, I don't call them terrorists, but whatever, Khalistanis, if this matter had been raised with the powers that be in the United States, if our NSA had raised it with the NSA in the United States, I'm sure some cognizance would have been taken of it. Why has it come to this pass? Why has it come to this level?
Why do you say that it hasn't been raised? Why would you say this?
Because if it was raised, it's been raised too late, possibly. My point is that if you have a loony bin in the United States or in Canada, it needs to be pointed out there and then. Instead of trying to settle scores with people far away. That's the point I'm making. And then you go and make somebody, as I said, goofed up then. If we think that we can sort out these things, then I think it requires a little more sophistication. I had never heard of such things before. I'm telling you very confidently and honestly that when I was around, we never heard of such things. And therefore, I don't believe that such thing. My initial thing was, I don't believe such things can happen. We can never be involved in such things. But if they have happened, and there's that if, then I think somebody has goofed up big time.
Okay. One of the contentious things that you just said is that you don't look at a Pannu.
I say everything contentious.
That's true. That's true. Now, you've looked at Gurpatwant Pannun, who's openly shouting about balkanizing India, celebrating the assassins of Indira Gandhi, not in 1984, but in 2023. You are looking at this man, right? And you're saying you call him a terrorist. By the way, it's not just me and my subjective opinion. That's how officially the Indian state designates him. But when I hear that speech, Dulat Saab, I have to say that it makes my blood boil, and when I see tableaus of Indira Gandhi's killers being celebrated, at Canadian parades, when I see Parmar being memorialized in some gurdwaras, and again, I'm a Punjabi, I have family in Punjab, I have Sikh relatives, I don't conflate Sikh with Khalistani, but I do think Pannu is a terrorist because his record, his polemics, his open call to violence, his threat to balkanize India, what else is terrorism?
Yeah, okay. I think he's a madcap who's being used by people. But the point really is, whether we call him a terrorist or not, the point I'm trying to make, Barkha, and you're not getting that point, that please let us keep all this out of the Punjab. Let it not unsettle the Punjab. That's all. That's my one main concern in all this. And I can tell you that if you speak to Sikhs in the Punjab, it will be their concern as well. Because the Sikhs are quite happy the way they are. They don't want people messing about and spoiling what is good right now, what looks good. There is no talk of Khalistan in the Punjab. There is no demand for Khalistan in the Punjab. There is a madcap occasionally here and there. One of them even got elected last time in the assembly. So these crazy things will happen. Now the question here is that how is a fellow surviving with all this nonsense in the Punjab as well? This question will be raised, or can be raised.
Look, no, I hear you. And by the way, I've been looking at data. There's a Pew survey that shows that 95% of Sikhs polled said they were very happy to be part of India, that they looked at Khalistan as a dead and discredited idea. So I agree with you, notwithstanding the Amrit Pals and the Simranjit Singh Mans of Punjab who rise from
No, Simranjit is okay. Simranjit is okay now. He's okay.
He's an extreme. His politics are extreme and dangerous.
Yeah. Some politicians are extreme and dangerous, but we belong. I'll stand up for Simranjit because we were in the same service. We went to the same school, and he's not a bad guy. I'll stand up for Simranjit. But the other fellow is.
As a spook who spent your life engaging with militants and terrorists, I think you have an unconventional notion of or an unconventionally elastic bandwidth. I think most people would look at Simranjit Singh Mann and say he's an extreme man. Amrit Pal Singh is an extreme man. Amrit Pal Singh has been.
Why are you complaining? Can you compare Amrit Pal with Simranjit? Simranjit is a proper educated fellow.
Okay.
He was part of the Indian Police Service. He just went, I mean, the Bhindranwale way. He went bonkers for a while. He's all right. I hope you know that his wife and the Maharaja's wife are sisters. They come from good stock. There's nothing wrong with this family.
Okay, firstly, education and stock, with great respect to you, Dulat Saab, does not ensure integrity. But you and I will have to sit and talk.
It does ensure. For me, it ensures integrity. As far as Simranjit is concerned, I would stand up for him. Yeah, his beliefs have gone a bit wonky.
Yes,
but he's perfectly all right now. He got elected to Parliament. You know that.
I do know that, and therefore I was saying where this argument started was exactly there, where I said that Khalistan is a discredited issue in Punjab. It has no takers, despite pockets of dangerously extreme politics as manifested by Amrit Pal Singh. And I would say
No. Simranjit is not in this. Okay. He's not in the same category. That's all.
Okay, but can we come back to what we were talking about? Can we come back to what we were talking about?
Sure.
You said you are concerned about this not this not being used or misused in any way in Punjab, and I hear that. But when you say Pannu is someone you think is being used by the CIA, does this give
It
you a
appears to me
deja
like that.
vu? Let's talk about a
It,
man that we have all forgotten about called David Headley. Remember David Headley? Now,
how can I forget
hum
David Headley?
correct. Now,
Uh,
Headley,
he was a
was he?
three-way agent, you know.
Yes.
Uh,
And in the end, the
I used to
question has,
say,
yeah,
that he was a three-way agent. You know? He worked for the American, drug enforcement. He worked for the
yes,
ISI, and he worked for the CIA. And therefore, the Americans locked him up at the right time. If what Hadley knew, now let me put you this thing, when you express surprise at these things, let me tell you that if what Hadley knew had been shared with us at the right time, there would have been no 2611.
exactly.
Because this guy, as you say, and this thing shows he was the mastermind of this thing. Now, and the Americans were in the know of all this. So if the Americans had shared that information in time, they did pass some information in September, but it was too early, and then people forgot about whatever had been passed. But
Yeah.
what happened in November also, the Americans would have known.
Are
At
you
least
saying,
the Hadley part, yeah,
are you saying, because
yeah.
it's a pretty big thing you're saying that had David Headley
Hmm.
shared the information he had, there would have been no 2611. That point is believable. But you're saying the Americans, I don't know at what level, knew this and didn't tell India. Americans sat back and allowed 2611 to happen in India. They could have stopped it.
Well, now this whole thing of stopped it is a difficult thing to say, but certainly now I'll tell you something, and I keep coming back to that the Americans had shared information with us, and you can ask the RNAW on that something there was going to be an attack. It's going to be at such and such place. It's going to be from the sea, and you guys need to watch out. And security had been beefed up at the Taj and the Oberoi and exactly places which were attacked later. And I happened to visit the Taj about a fortnight or 10 days after the attack. And I said, what happened to all the security? They said, yes, there was security, but then nothing happened. The Bombay police withdrew the security or whatever it is. You know how it is, security for how long? How long can you cry wolf and expect everybody to believe that something could happen? So it was on for a couple of months, and then it was withdrawn, and that's when the attack took place. Now, David Hadley, if you yourself are saying, conceding that he was the mastermind, I don't know whether he was the mastermind. The mastermind may have been in Karachi, but he was a key player in all this. He was a key link to the whole thing. If he knew whatever was happening, and anybody in the Taj will tell you that guy was in and out of the Taj all the time, then that the Americans would have known it because he was working for the Americans.
Right till the end. You don't believe he crossed over. You believe he was a mole.
Crossed to where? Where was there to cross to? He was working for the Americans, and he worked for the Pakis.
Right.
Look,
so he was
my
both
point
working
is,
for the
he was
national.
working
Was
for
he
the
an
Americans, he was working for the Pakis, and he was working for the Americans again. So
the question then will be why? Why would America want this done to India?
I'm not saying now you're putting it in a different way that why would America want it done to India? Why does anybody want it done anywhere? Why does it happen
Correct.
anywhere? The point really is that if you are in the know of something, how much do you share at what time? That's the crucial thing,
Yes.
Not that you want it done or not done. The point really is, if we are in the business of intelligence sharing and we have concern for each other, then how much do we share at what time? That's the key. That's the whole thing, And the whole business, the whole problem with sharing is that it doesn't always take place at the right time. or the time of
Right.
our choosing. You know?
So let us apply this Headley parallel, though it's not exactly a literal parallel. If I were to apply it to what we were talking about, like you
About
believe
Pannu.
Headley worked for the you believed Headley worked for the Americans. You
Absolutely,
believe Pannu
no
is
doubt.
you believe
I
Pannu is
have.
playing to
See, about Headley, it was very much clearer to me as somebody who was looking at 2611, although I was out of the business. And I made it a point to visit the Taj, and I saw a lot of things there. And, you see that building with the Taj right now?
Yeah.
That's the heritage wing. Okay. Now, if you see that smoke coming out,
Yeah.
it's very interesting that it only came out, you only see smoke coming out from the right wing. Okay? You were there, Barkha, at that during the whole 2611 thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed this, but I went to the Taj and I spent a lot of time examining what had happened there. And when I saw that the burnt up side was the right side of the Taj, and I'm talking of the heritage wing, the left side was pretty much okay, which made me jump to the conclusion that at the time of 2611, there were possibly one or two boys within the Taj with the weapons who were waiting for this to happen and who were a part of this. And therefore, they blew up that side. Could that be possible?
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. So that was my conclusion. That not only was Headley coming and going, and if you ask the staff at the Taj at that time, they would tell you that those boys who came in 2611, some of them were well known to the staff. Therefore, my conclusion was that possibly one of them, or maybe two of them, was actually living inside the Taj at that point of time when this attack took place. And they may have had weapons, they may have had bombs. In fact, the other interesting thing is if you visit the Taj regularly, that this whole business of X-raying suitcases and the luggage only started after 2611. Do you know that? And it started exactly. It started exactly for the reason that I believe that there were guys up there with weapons and material to blow up that. Yeah.
Look, the fact that India could not get Headley extradited, right? I think says everything about the Americans wanting to keep him close to them. That's obvious.
That's right.
But it's also shocking, and it's galling, and it's enraging. I don't think like a spook. I think like just a regular person. So I find it.
I think a lot like Barkha, so we are all right.
Okay. The question is this: applied to Gurpatwant Pannun, you have not explained. Come on, in the end, tell us. We've discussed Headley. Why does he seem like a CIA mole of some kind to you, Gurpatwant Pannun? And if he's a mole, why would the Americans want to bring in this friction into their relationship with India over a guy who's their own guy?
Look, I'm not talking of a mole. I'm talking of a straightforward agent. He would be a mole if he was in Punjab, but he's right there. The reason I'm saying this, and I'll keep on saying it, and I told you before, is the kind of support that this man is getting. As you say, he's bad news. He's a terrorist. So why are the Americans supporting him? For what reason? If he's not one of their own, if has no link with them, then the Americans don't want Khalistan, surely. The Canadians have a separate distinct because there are a lot of more Sikhs in Canada than in the United States. The Americans have nothing to do with Khalistanis or whatever it is. So why is this particular gentleman, a special favorite of theirs? That they're so concerned. And it's not even somebody who has been gunned down or anything. That there was a plan to gun him down. That is the story, isn't it?
Yes. So the question
and after that story comes out, he still manages to say what he said, what you showed me, that it was so offensive. Yeah. And the Americans didn't take any action against that. So who is he? And why is
so
he?
why? So why?
Why?
So why? No, why are the Americans spending capital on protecting this guy? Okay, he's a CIA agent,
Yeah.
right?
So he obviously serves a certain purpose. Now, if you're going to ask me everything, what purpose does he serve? Then I've got to get back into business, and I'll tell you what purpose
fair
he
enough.
serves.
Okay, let's end by asking you this. Where do you see this all heading from here? The fracas with Canada, the tension with the United States of America.
I started by telling you that. I think this American row will end very soon, either with a request or a demand for extradition, and that will die down there. As they say, it'll lie down and die down there. The Canadian thing will take a little longer, and once the Americans are settled, the Canadians will settle. It'll die down. I don't see this carrying on for any extended period of time. No. I'm looking at it positively. I'm not a diplomat, and neither am I in the spooky business anymore. But as I see it, as a lay person watching the tamasha, I see that there is no reason for it to linger on now. Enough is enough.
Always provocative. Yes, Dulat. A pleasure.
Thanks, Barkha.
Thank
As
you.
I said, one can't say no to you.
Absolutely.
Take care.
Thank you, sir. Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, take care. Bye.
Bye. It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.